Hi everyone, let's go birding! Welcome back to the 250 bird challenge. This year we're trying to see 250 birds. We're currently at 249. We need one more bird. We're currently at Algonquin Park. Okay, welcome back. As I mentioned, we're at Algonquin Park, currently at the old Airfield. It's the 11th of November and it's -2 degrees, quite a bit chillier than it was last time we were here in early September. As you can see, there is snow kind of starting to form, crunchy underfoot as we walk. Winter finches have started to arrive in the last couple of weeks, so we're hoping to see some of those. Personally, I would really like to see a pine grosbeak. That would be a lifer. A new bird for us. As you can see, we're at 249 birds and need one more. Sarah, what would you like to see?
The red crossbill.
Red crossbill is a bird we tried to see last time we were here. They've continued to be reported here. Maybe we'll see that. Yeah, the other crossbill species, the white-winged crossbill, has been reported. Pine siskins. Another bird we'd really like to see and tried to see in our last video at Colonel Sam Smith Park is the snow bunting. Those two have been reported and photographed here. Anyway, stay tuned. We're going to check out the old Airfield. I'm going to talk briefly about Algonquin Park and then we'll be back. Algonquin Park, about 3 hours drive north of Toronto, is the largest provincial park in Ontario, over 7,000 square kilometres or nearly 3,000 square miles. That's larger than the states of Delaware and Rhode Island combined. If you laid Algonquin Park over the top of London, well, you'd cover it, and Watford, and the southern part of Algonquin would almost touch the southern coast. So yeah, it's a big old place filled with lakes and forests. The vast majority of the park can only be reached by canoe. There are many great birding spots that are accessible from the highway. Some of our favourites include the Logging Museum, Spruce Bog Boardwalk, the Visitors Centre, and where we began this video, the old airfield located along the road that leads to Mew Lake Campground at kilometre 30.6. Well, the open airfield area was pretty quiet, but it mostly lacks the coniferous trees that would be more likely frequented by the winter finches we were hoping for, although some pine siskins did briefly take pause on this birch or aspen. Here also were some black-capped chickadees, and a blue jay was keeping watch nearby. We continued to scope out the tree lines as we stood over the Madawaska River to the southeast of the old airfield. A single purple finch came by, and we were hearing tons of red-breasted nuthatch. Most were well hidden, but we caught a couple of glimpses. So in front of the purple finch. We turned back and Sarah found some interesting animal tracks. There are some canid tracks here in the snow. They're notable for a couple of reasons. Sarah's going to put her hand down next to one to show you the size. They are quite large. The other thing of note is there are no human tracks beside them and they go on for quite a distance, so it's an unaccompanied canid, which kind of probably rules out domestic, so this might be the tracks of a wolf. Could be a coyote. At the end of the day, they interbreed so much it could be a mix of the two anyway. Most of the wild canids, wolves, coyotes, are interbreeding in Ontario. Next up, we drove to Lake Opongo at kilometre 46.3. Confession. Up to this point, a couple of times, a few mixed flocks of winter finches had flown over us, but there's no way I could get those fast-moving flying birds on camera. Stay watching though. I reckon you might see a 250th bird soon. In the meantime, Lake Opongo didn't give us much, so we moved on to the Logging Museum located at kilometre 54.5. We'd been hoping to see Canada jays at Lake Opongo. We've already seen them briefly this year, so it's not a new bird, but I think they're really cool. So, to be honest, I was feeling a little bit disappointed. So imagine my surprise when 3 different Canada jays came out to spy on us and soon began to take food from us. It was a really cool experience. Canada jay plumage varies depending upon the location and the subspecies, but those in Algonquin Park, the Canadensis canadensis subspecies, have black caps extending towards the eyes and the beginnings of a black necklace. Their backs are grey, extending to their long, slender tails. flight feathers are tipped with white colouring, their beaks are short with slightly buffy coloured feathers surrounding it. They're generally found further north into the Canadian boreal forest, but can be found in Algonquin Park thanks to the coniferous forest, particularly black spruce, and the higher terrain found in some areas that encourages colder temperatures and wintry weather. They do well in these harsh conditions because they are adept at hoarding food. Before winter sets in, most of their time is spent looking for and caching food. They have enlarged saliva glands and sticky saliva, which allows them to attach and hide foodstuff under lichen and bark or in the V's of trees. Unlike other passerines, where this bird traditionally succeeds is by living in permanent territory rather than migrating, and by nesting in still wintry conditions where they can rely on their food caches surviving in the freezing temperatures. Unfortunately, according to research and a 2006 article by Thomas Waite and Dan Strickland, who has been involved in monitoring the specific population in Algonquin Park, which is why most of the Canada jays there are banded, human-caused climate change may be to blame for warmer temperatures, which then cause the jays' food hoards to rot. The birds attempt to delay their breeding, but their breeding success has been negatively impacted. Since research began in Algonquin Park in 1964, of the 50 territories that were occupied, only 22 remained in 2010. Canada jays are smart birds and they learn quickly to pick out novel foods, including human foodstuff, hence the nickname camp robber. They've even been observed landing on the back of moose and picking off engorged winter ticks for food. As you can see, Canada jays are able to learn that humans can directly provide food. They are able to discern and choose the more profitable food when choices are provided. In our case, they preferred berries over nuts. Quick update, I've been in contact with the team monitoring these Canada jays for more information on the individuals we saw. The bird on the right is a female aged at least 7 years old, on the left is her juvenile offspring. The bird on my hand in this shot is the male of the pair, also aged at least 7 years old. Sadly, in an update to what I mentioned about there being 50 territories in 1964, 22 territories in 2010, there are now only 12 known territories in Algonquin Park. 2 of those do not currently have a female.
Okay, that was really cool, feeding the Canada jays. That's kind of a bit of a bucket list thing for me. Quite like those birds, and I'd never hand-fed them before, so woo on that. It's not a new bird though, and we still haven't seen any new birds. We are now at the visitors centre. We're going to take a look to see if there's anything out the back there, perhaps in the car park. They don't have the feeders up yet, otherwise that would be a dead cert for that pine grosbeak that we're searching for. But let's see if there's any of these winter finches hanging around the visitor centre.
So, some finches have just landed. I'm trying to position the camera. Some finches have just landed on the top of this tree. We have a red crossbill. We have red crossbills, male and female. That's a lifer for us. It's the bird Sara wanted to see, and it's bird 250. So we did it. Hooray! But we'll probably just carry on. But we have our 250th bird, so mission accomplished. Hey everyone, we're outside the back of the Algonquin Visitors Centre now with this great view behind, which I'll show more of in a second, but there are winter finches flying all around us. They keep circling and landing in the trees, so I'm going to get some footage of those. There's definitely some crossbills amongst them. Up on the viewing deck, level with the coniferous tree canopy, we were able to get much closer views. This close to the crossbills, you can clearly see their crossed bill tips. Plumage colour can vary, but the male red crossbill is generally a deep red colour with dark brown flight feathers. The tail has a deep notch. The female is more of an olivey yellow colour with light breast and sometimes some streaking. Both sexes lack white wing bars, which are present on the similar looking white-winged crossbill. Crossbills are quite nomadic and eruptive, driven by their search for food. Their crossed mandibles are highly specialised for eating the seeds inside cones. They may forage inside the cone while it is still attached to the tree. They may forage on the ground, or, especially in Europe, they may remove the cone from the tree before foraging. This behaviour depends upon the species of tree, how hard or soft the cone is, and whether the cone is open or closed. I don't have feeding footage, but to get at the seeds, the crossbill will raise a leg and grip the cone with their foot. They insert their mandibles and prise the scales of the cone apart before using their tongue to extract the seed. Up on the viewing deck, we got closer looks at some more pine siskins.
He's got yellow on the wingtips.
And a purple finch. The day was getting on, so we had to leave. We celebrated over dinner in Huntsville. Not just because of the 250th bird, there was also the small matter of our 15th year wedding anniversary too. Now unfortunately, we did try to go back to Algonquin Park early in the morning, but the roads were icy and hazardous. There was an accident that closed Highway 60, and that's the main way into Algonquin Park with little alternative. So we had to turn back and begin the drive south back to Toronto. On the way, we checked for bird reports and decided to stop in Barrie, which is situated on Lake Simcoe. There were reports of a Pacific loon, the western cousin of the common loon. These birds are called divers for my UK viewers. The Pacific loon is rare in the east and would be a lifer for us. As we reached the lake, we saw dozens of ring-billed gulls and some Canada geese, so we turned towards the marina area. Shout out to Bob and Len, who recognised us and talked to us for a while about some of their sightings, and they had some really nice things to say about this channel. Much appreciated, gents. The four of us looked out over the marina. There were tons of loon in winter plumage, making it tougher to discern if one was a Pacific loon. Sadly, we didn't find it. As well as common loon, we also saw tons of red-breasted and common mergansers, and a couple of red-necked grebe. Hi everyone, we are back in Toronto and the 250 bird challenge is complete. Or is it 251? We actually saw a white-winged crossbill as well. I just didn't get video footage of it, but here's a quick photo to show you that. So guys, although we've broken 250, we are going to carry on spotting birds for the rest of this year, so rest assured we're going to keep making videos, so stay tuned to the channel. We're also formulating plans for what exactly we're going to do next year. Obviously the challenge is quite a popular thing, so we're going to come up with something else. We're still working on plans at the moment. We'll announce that soon, so stay tuned. In the meantime, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for all your support. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I appreciate your likes and comments also. Thanks for watching. Happy birding.